I'm up here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Anthony Ford, Kong Armor, the world's toughest deck armor. I'm the most notorious deck rescue painter on the planet today. I got something I want to show you guys. So this is a deck system. We're in Cincinnati. It has something we call peeling deck paint. And a particular situation here I'm getting ready to show you. But let's walk down here and look. I'm going to show you guys pretty unique project. This is what we call deck rescue painting and peeling deck paint, lockdown encapsulation, all in one project. So check out this deck here. So far so good, right? You get here, it looks a little weathered. What's unique about this deck and the rescue that it needs is it has a bunch of rotten boards. This thing is really pretty. Get around here and I'll show you guys the band boards on it are rotten. So you see all those band boards? They all have rot in them. They're at least rotten from that back side back there all the way over to about right there. So we're just going to go ahead and replace all of them. It doesn't make sense to replace a couple of them and not replace all of them. See, rot, 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 rot. And then look here, rot. Now we can kind of look and kind of see that the fasteners in here are not super corroded. So that's one of the first things that I checked out, was I checked out the fasteners. This one's got some corrosion, but the rest of them are not horribly bad. So I have a hard time believing that that's all fastener corrosion that caused that. Typically, when we see this type of shelving of rotten wood, it's from a chemical reaction with rust, and that typically will come from fasteners. I don't think that's the case here on a major scale. I think what has happened here is too much shade and too much moisture from these trees being too close to this deck system. So we got water intrusion that gets down into the band boards, right? And it comes in via a bunch of different ways. It can come in through that little nick there, get down into the band board. It hits these deck boards and goes down. It can get in through the screw heads, the screw holes themselves that are up here. End up saturating this band board. And then these trees provide so much shade in through here. Like look, right out there, it's super sunny out here right now, right? See how sunny it is? It's scorching out here. It's almost 80 degrees. But right here, where we're at, super shade. And it's about 10 degrees cooler here. It feels really nice over here. Too much shade and too much water intrusion from these trees. Look, it's almost a little rainforest that just constantly drops water down on here, and that's the problem. The owner needs to cut some of this back, right? We're lucky that it's just the band boards. We haven't found any other subsequent rot right now, but all of these band boards that are close to these plants, and look at this shade here. This is some remarkable shade. Look at this. And this is like this all day long. Look out there. Right? That's how sunny it is right now, but look how dark it is up underneath of here. Right? And then look straight up. Look straight up. That's what these band boards are having to deal with. If we get a downpour or some rain or something, and these trees just constantly are dropping water on the outside of these band boards, and this shade added with just a tiny bit of corrosion off of one of those fasteners, and boom, you got rotten wood, right? Now, we'll go up here and I'll show you guys one of the other problems that exist here. What we're going to do is we're going to come in, we're going to replace every single one of those band boards. Also, there's a deck underside system here, what we call a false bottom, a rain deterrent, a water deterrent system here, so that the family can come out here and live. The problem is this deck system is suffering from rot. This could be adding issues as well. It could be holding moisture and just keeping everything saturated too long, right? You'd be surprised what a pocket of moisture caught over here can cause clear over on the other side of the deck. It's humidity and relative humidity and humidity pockets are crazy things. They can cause all kinds of damage that you wouldn't expect them to cause. So we're going to drop this all for them, right? I talked the owners into just getting rid of this. Hey, let's just get rid of this so we can eliminate any chance that this rot comes back and haunts you, right? We're going to open up the underside of this deck and we're going to let it breathe. It's been closed off for years. I've included 4 12-foot sisters for joist up in here, just in case they are rotten. In their package, they got all the band boards replaced. I've included 4 12-footers for sistering in case we need to do sistering up underneath of there if those are rotten. And then you walk up here. We start walking up here and looking at this deck system, which is a beautiful, beautiful deck system. This deck is going to go back a very similar color. If you look here, we'll start talking about the issues that exist on the deck's exterior surface, right? So we were just up underneath of the hood, and now we're up here and we're looking at the floor and we're looking at the rails, the livable part of the deck system. And you start to see that up here we have that shade. We have that shade as well, right? It's everywhere. And we have this kind of constant, look how beautiful this deck system is. It rolls around to this really nice pergola back here, which is also throwing off a lot of shade, right? So just a lot of shade, a lot of moisture intrusion from these trees combined with that shade, and we got a bunch of rot. What else do we have? Well, we have peeling deck paint, and it's hard to see because it looks as if, I don't even believe that this is deck paint. I believe that this is some type of just regular exterior paint that's on this deck system, but it's peeling everywhere, and the coating that's underneath of it is a similar color. So it's hard to see the peeling, but it's peeling everywhere. The homeowners believe that this was just thrown on here quickly to spruce the deck up to sell the home, and I agree. As you can see, it's coming off right there. Very little, if any, adhesion, and you can see the coating that's on the underside is a very similar color. So they threw a touch-up coating on here to try to sell this, to get it sold, and they did get it sold. Over here, the peeling is a little bit more extensive. You can start to see as we get close to the shade here, where moisture's hanging out longer, we have more substantial peeling, right? As we also get above, remember that water deterrent system is down there. So as we get above that also as well, we start to see more peeling, which tells me that they're having reverse water. They're having water come up from that system and affect the paint system up here, right? So our goal is simple. Come in, replace all the band boards, tear down that water deterrent system, that false bottom that's on the underside of this deck. Get rid of that, open that up, let this deck system breathe. Then we're going to come in, we're going to perform general maintenance. We're going to add an epoxy filler to all the large cracks in the post. Look, you see this? Silverback epoxy. We're going to close all these off so that all these areas, because there's so much shade here, We're going to close these off with the world's toughest epoxy. We inject it in there and then we knife this flat. Afterwards, we coat over it with the Kong system, and it completely closes off this post. It completely water locks it. That's going to be real important along this line here where all this shade is, because there are cracks in here, and we're starting to see rot on the outside edges of this deck because of all the shade, because of all the plant oils and the substantial amount of water that just hangs out long term, right? So we're going to close all that off with that really tough silverback epoxy, the world's toughest deck post crack filler. Perform general maintenance. Replace any bad boards that are in the floor up underneath that stuff or up underneath of here. Once all that's done, which is a lot of work in and of itself, this is why we call this deck rescue painting. We're going to come in with the world's toughest deck armor, Kong armor, and we're going to perform what we call lockdown encapsulation, peeling deck paint lockdown encapsulation. We're going to bring a thick build, high stretch, industrial grade, ultra tough lifetime deck armor system in here that's just going to, it's going to engulf everything. It's going to put a high build exoskeleton over top of everything, and one of its main benefits is that it has the ability to lock down and encapsulate peeling deck paints. And that's what's going to happen here. All this peeling deck paint is going to go bye-bye. It's going to be under really big, thick layers of Kong, all encapsulated, unbelievable adhesion. It'll get locked down for life. Simultaneously, we'll provide the most extensive resurfacing this deck has ever seen with Kong armor. What do I mean by that? Well, every single hairline, every single nail or screw entry hole will get covered over by this film. You know, that rot that we were talking about, we were saying that that rust is what kicks off that rot that happens in boards often. It's because when people coat decks, they hire people that leave these fastener entry points open. Water gets down in there, rust kicks in, the wood reacts with that rust and it starts to rot, all from these being left open. Kong armor completely covers these over. It's physical barrier protection that keeps that precipitation from causing that fastener to rot. Increases the life of your deck system tremendously. At the same time, we have stuff like hairlines, cracks, that if we don't also cover over, the water will get down into the crack and travel to the fastener, the screw or nail, and the same thing happens. So we also have to press this coating into this film and close in the cracks. We're going to do that at the same time we're locking down this peeling deck paint, and the end results is going to be a high build, high stretch, gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous, synthetic, almost composite like finish on this deck system, with every single water entry hole in this floor locked down and encapsulated. There's no way in. True water lock. True water lock. That's what's getting ready to happen here. The outside will get 80 to 90% of the verticals. They're a little bit harder to fill in, but we'll still get most of those too as well. But when you look at this floor when it's done, my God, it's going to be drop dead gorgeous. I'm super excited. Whew. What are we going to call this? I'm going to call this the rainforest deck, because that's what I think's going on here. I think there's a little tropical rainforest right here that's caused those band boards to rot. Pockets of relative humidity, too much shade, and too much moisture. We're going to call this the rainforest. Stand by for lockdown. Stand by for encapsulation. And just wait. Just wait. Because I'm getting ready to bring you guys. One of the most gorgeous deck systems that you've ever seen in your life. A dilapidated backyard Cincinnati deck that a lot of people would get suckered into just pulling down and rebuilding completely. We're gonna save it, and we're gonna save it with the power of calm, and you're gonna bear witness to it. You're gonna see it. You're gonna see the completion video. You're gonna see the proof, and then you're gonna start believing in the power of calm, because it can save your deck too. Stand by. See you soon. Remember, visit KongArmor.com.